Yeah, how you doing, man?
What's going on, buddy?
You know what? I can't complain, man. Just happy to be with you guys tonight. So,
Man,
yeah.
you one of the few African Americans I know that does Ironman.
It's been a while, it's so interesting, man. I'm signed up to do it again in September. It's just not going to happen. Just I have some issues with my left knee, old football injury.
Ah,
And man, I tell you, 30 some odd years ago, they said you can have the surgery. And at the time, they were cutting your knee wide open,
right.
so
Hey, man,
you
wait, man. This is a podcast, man. You
okay.
telling some good juicy stuff
That's right.
already,
All
So
man.
right.
I started the recording, so we are recording
Okay.
Oh,
at the moment. We'll go ahead and chop it up, get
Yes.
into it. Well, let me introduce you. First of all, welcome to the Healthy Brotherhood Experience. We're glad to have on here my co-host Lucire Boyd and myself, JT Hale, introducing to the rest of the Brotherhood and our viewers, the Black Men Run Madison Chapter Captain, Brother Aaron Perry.
Yes, yes. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. I'm saying welcome, but thank you guys, because it's always an honor to be able to, join the Brotherhood and do something that could potentially, lead to somebody making some good changes in life, so it's always a good thing.
That's right.
absolutely, absolutely.
And you got a lot of good things going on, man. So we're very eager to dive into your story
Mhm,
and your running background. How'd you get started running?
mhm.
How you hooked up with Black Men Run?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so interesting. About almost 6 years ago now, um, I started this organization, Rebalance Life Wellness Association, and I started this after I completed the Ironman. This is back in 2005. And it was one of the, still today, it's the hottest Ironman on record. It was an average of, most of the day was 100 degrees, but by the time I
Ooh,
crossed the finish line, it was 97.
ooh,
Um, it's so crazy, because when I initially started training, I was just in poor health, extremely poor control of my diabetes. And I just remember scheduling a doctor's appointment and going in and meeting with my diabetes doctor, the endocrinologist. And probably wasn't the right time to be talking about wanting to do the Ironman, because he just went through all of my labs and he's like, "Man, your A1Cs are 13." And normal is they like to keep it between 5.5, possibly 6.1, but mine's was 13, which
wow.
means that my diabetes was,
Out of
seriously and
control.
dangerously out of
Mhm.
control. And, but so we go through and he shares I guess the bad news with me. Just like with most people, I thought I was, I knew that I wasn't controlling it very tight, but I had no idea it was that bad.
Mhm.
I started talking to him about a lot of the complications that I was feeling, the blurred vision, a little bit of tingling of the feet. At the time, I didn't realize those were complications from poor diabetes control until my doctor said, Aaron, everything that you're talking about, that is the result of poor diabetes control.
Mhm.
And, I said, Doc, what do you want me to do? I'm following your program. He said, man, I really need you to exercise, need you to, lose a little weight. And, at the time I think I was about 246. You know, Sometimes we can be heavier, but we can carry our frames can carry the weight well. And so that was my case, because most people would say, man, you're muscular, So I would hear that. So in my mind, I'm okay, because you hear this.
Mhm.
But the reality is, when I looked at the scale, when I looked at what they basically where they want you to be at health wise, I was considered obese. And so hearing my doctor share that with me. And I asked him, what do you want me to do? He said, brother, you need to work out. You need to get a little bike, maybe go for an after meal ride, maybe walk around the block after meals. And that was when everything changed when I said to him, I said, well, doc, I did see this thing called the Ironman on TV yesterday, and I want to do that. And he said, oh, wait a minute. He said, I want you to exercise, but he said, you can't do the Ironman. That's for serious athletes. And I just remember kind of looking at him, but he kept it real with me, which is what I always ask my doctor to do. Don't sugarcoat it, keep it real with me.
Mhm.
But when he said that, it really lit a fire under me, because I mean, he basically said, no, dude, you can't do that. you know, and 362 days from that conversation, I crossed the finish line of my first Ironman. And,
Look at
I
that.
tell you, it was just one of those surreal experiences, because over the whole, 362 days, and trust me, I was counting down each day, you know, I didn't know how to swim. The swim is 2.4 miles. So I had to hire a swim coach. I had never, did any running, anything over 3 miles. And as far as, riding a bike, 112 miles on the bike, 26.2 miles running, I hadn't did anything like that. So I knew that what I was talking about doing or dreaming of doing, I knew it was going to be pushing a very heavy rock uphill in an ice storm. I knew it was going to be tough. you know, but I hung in there, man, and I ended up surrounding, myself around people who were seasoned triathletes. It's so crazy when I think about Black Men Run and how some of the guys come out and run with us. I remember when I see that look in their eyes, I had that look in my eyes when I was trying to connect with these seasoned triathletes. And so now when we get guys that come out and they want to, run with us or even walk with us, I see that look. And so I'm able to understand sometimes that's coming from a place of trauma too, because oftentimes we let illness force us to exercise,
Mhm.
and
True.
so ended up just getting myself ready, man. But it was a challenge getting ready for the Ironman. But I took the training serious. I surrounded myself with health conscious people. But I had another thing on my plate. I was diabetic, and so I had to help people understand that if I'm out on the course and I'm running or I'm cycling and I start acting goofy, I tell 'em, do not give me insulin. You got to give me sugar, you know.
Mhm.
And so I had to educate a lot of people, because believe it or not, I mean, being the world's first African American diabetic to do the Ironman, I saw it during my training. I was having conversations with people that they they had no connection to diabetes, none, and so I'm talking to people that just didn't quite understand when I would say, if I'm struggling, if I'm acting loopy, give me sugar, don't give me insulin, so I had to educate all these seasoned triathletes, but we got it
Mhm.
done. And but I can keep talking, man. I mean, I know you guys got some more questions for me.
No,
Oh, wow.
that's pretty awesome. I mean, because a lot of people don't know, they hear of diabetes, and they think somebody has the sugar, whatever
Right.
that means, and
Mhm.
that's the extent of it if you're not dealing with it. So a
Right.
lot of people
Mhm.
they're familiar with the term, but they don't know exactly what it means and the
Mhm.
effects that it has on the body.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that I can share with your audience, what really got me over the hump, it was jumping in the water and not knowing how to swim. I started in the pool. And then my swim coach, I just remember him telling me, Aaron, Ironman is almost a year away. So it's going to take a little while. But just hang in there, because a lot of guys start and they quit, So I remember swimming down the one lane and I came back. Man, I was tired. Arms are hurting, back was hurting, butt muscles were hurting because you never haven't used them, you know. And I just remember going down and back and down and back. So I remember I did my first 5 laps, man, I was fired up. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be an Ironman." So I said, "Coach, how am I doing?" He said, "Aaron, you're doing good. You're not beating the water up, and so you're doing good." I said, "I got 5 laps." I said, "So how many more do I have to go to do the half Ironman or the full Ironman, which is 2.4 miles?" He said, "Well, I don't want to get your hopes up or be a Debbie Downer." He said, "But the reality is you did 5 laps." He said, "The full Ironman swim is 87 laps in the pool." And I remember looking at him, and all of the doubt came back in. "Oh man, I'm never going to be an Ironman." He said, "But Aaron, just hang in there. It will come. It will come." And that's what I did. I had to trust in folks that were professionals, and I was trying to get somewhere. But what I can share is I was scared. Um, Near drowning experience at the age of 5. I was at Bradford Beach, lakefront in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mom took us to the lakefront. Didn't have a lot of money. That was a cheap, outing that we could do. And I remember just playing in the lake, and just ended up sticking my head under the water, trying to hide from my family. And man, all of a sudden I came up and I just see people from the shoreline. They're all waving. I thought they were waving at me, like saying hi. And, but I had drifted out so far, and my mom was like waving, like trying to get people to come and get her baby because, I was struggling, going under and coming back up. But I'll never forget this white guy, came out and grabbed me and brought me back to the shoreline, and, they started doing CPR, but it wasn't necessary. I was still coherent. But yeah, I almost drowned at the age of 5. So when I decided I wanted to do the Ironman, you start having all of those feelings just coming back to you about water. And but my coach told me we're going to be in the pool for about 3 months, but when the weather warms up, we're going to transition to the lake. So I thought I was ready. And of course, when we transitioned to the lake, there was a whole nother series of doubt coming back in because when you're swimming in a pool, you can just stand up if you get tired.
That's right.
All of a sudden I jump out in that lake, and 75 feet deep. You better figure it out quick.
Did
But
they have a swim buoy? Did you wear a swim buoy?
I did not. My coach,
Wow.
though, he did. He would always bring his canoe, and so he would paddle out. He didn't believe in having but he just said, if you're gonna learn, you're gonna learn. But he always cautioned us: if you struggle, swim over to my canoe, and we'll get you in. So
Mhm.
that was always our plan. But one of the things that I could share is when I figured out what was on the other side of my fears, man, that's when everything came together. And I think a lot of people, man, they want to achieve something, but man, that fear restricts them. And so when you can literally move to the other side of your fear, there's a whole nother life waiting for you. And that's what I've learned and taking on the Ironman. I was scared. I will absolutely admit I was scared. I thought I was going to drown every time I jumped in the pool, but I had to trust. But when I moved to the other side of my fears, man, it was a whole nother life waiting over there for me.
Yeah,
Wow.
FEAR, false evidence appearing real, fear.
Say that, Lucia. You better say that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Living proof.
that's very profound, man. I have to remember that for myself. What's on the other side of your fear?
Whole nother
Uh,
life waiting for
that
people.
sounds like a title of a book, man. Have you written a book called The Other Side of Your Fear? That's what it
You
sounds
know,
like.
I wrote a book called Through the Storm. So Through the Storm is a book about my experience of doing training for the Ironman as a diabetic. So it's out on, you can get it on Amazon, but Through the Storm by Aaron
Okay,
Perry.
through the storm.
Wow.
Awesome, awesome. You inspired me. I did my first half Ironman because of you when we went over to Wisconsin and we got to, connect. That was a blessing, man, and
Mhm.
allowed me to make the right decisions and decide what to do. I was looking at the plan. You gave me a plan. I
Oh
was
wow.
You really inspired me, man. Me and you,
Okay.
I don't know if you recall, but me and you sat in your car and we had a cool long conversation and you
That's
was you you was like a big brother to me, telling me, hey man, you could do this.
Right. That's so cool. And I didn't. So did you do the half Ironman in
Yeah,
Wisconsin?
no, I did the half Ironman in Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh, got you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a very popular one that a lot of people from Wisconsin, they do the Wisconsin half, and then the next year they do the Traverse City one. So yeah, but that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that, something that I may have done or said
Mhm.
was inspirational. And we all hope that, that's what we hope we can do in our life is be an inspiration to someone.
Right. So is there a difference between triathlon and an Ironman?
Well, the Ironman so the triathlon is swim, bike, and run.
Mhm.
And so that's what the Ironman is. It's just you have a sprint triathlon, which typically you can do within an hour. So sprint triathlon is typically a 600-yard swim, 15-mile bike, 3-mile run. So most people can do that, in an hour, hour and a half. And then you start getting up in the Olympic distance. We do a little more, and then the half Ironman, which is a 1.2-mile swim, 56-mile bike, and 13.1-mile run. So it's just the distance as you start to build up to it.
So you got a lot. It's the same thing, but you're doing a lot more.
Yes, at each
The
leg, it's
Ironman.
just gradually increases. So most people start
Okay.
with a sprint, then they gradually move up to either the Olympic or the half, and then from the half they get ready for I call it the granddaddy, the full Ironman.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, I was blessed. I was a swimmer. I was on a swim team from kindergarten through the
Oh,
12th grade of high school. So
okay.
somebody, I was interviewing somebody and they had told me, hey, you got it all. You gotta do is learn how to ride a bicycle.
Right, yeah.
So that's how I
Mhm.
ended up getting into tries
Oh,
because of
that's
my
excellent.
swimming.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, man, I tell you, I did Ironman save my life? Probably.
Mhm.
It put me in a different space where it forced me to be, a little more health conscious. But what I can tell you, doing Ironman in 2005 and just the training that I did, that carried me for 10 years, maybe. A
Wow.
good 10 years before I started noticing, okay, I'm starting to gain weight again, But doing the Ironman, I was able to, man, keep that going, whether it's metabolism or whether it's just, getting your body to a level of high endurance training. But I was able to go about good 10 years before I started noticing age, you know.
Right.
Age and weight gain.
Yeah, those two.
Right.
So now, how did that lead you to Black Men Run?
Yeah, so after I did the Ironman, I started looking at the statistics for Black men and diabetes.
Mhm.
And so I decided, since I was getting all of these emails from people all over the world, they heard that I was, the world's first African American diabetic. And man, people just found me, and they started emailing me. But I'll never forget, I got an email from a young man, 8 years old, Marcos, his name. He emailed me from his hospital bed. So he emailed me and said, hi, Aaron, my name is Marcos. I'm in the hospital, and I was diagnosed with diabetes. So, I emailed him back, hey, do you have a parent with you, and can they give me permission to interact with you? And so the mom ended up sending me her number, and so I ended up calling and literally talked with the kid while he was in the hospital. I was just diagnosed with diabetes. I shared with the mom. I said, I know that you're afraid. I said, but your baby is not going to die. But this is his lifestyle is going to change. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to do immediately. I said, but the most important thing, get with your medical team, get with your nutritionist, your diabetes educator. I said, not only get with them, but listen to them, because sometimes we know that we have issues and we have professionals that are willing to work with us, but sometimes we just get stubborn and we just don't want to listen. But I did tell her that your baby is going to be okay. And mom is sobbing on the phone. She's scared, of course. And I told her it's okay. I said, when I was diagnosed, that was the first thing that I thought I was going to die because I didn't have any connection to diabetes. But the strange thing, when I found out I was diabetic, it wasn't until I completed the Ironman and I started putting posts out in social media. I started hearing from guys like, yeah, man, I'm diabetic. I'm like, you diabetic? I said, man, I've known you for 15 years. You never mentioned it. And that's what it was, man. It's kind of like when I started talking about being diabetic, it's like I gave people permission. It was okay for them to admit, okay, I'm diabetic too. That was a strange occurrence, but however we get there, we got to take it. But with Marcos, that was really the beginning of me wanting to be an advocate for other diabetics. But the emails were coming so often that it was overwhelming. But I also noticed that a lot of the parents were really hanging on my every word. And that's when I realized I'm not a medical professional and that I'm not qualified to give advice to these parents, who or adults who were just diagnosed with diabetes. And so I had to pull back a little bit. And I started looking, instead of trying to be a national diabetes advocate, I started focusing more on our Black men in my community because guys were hurting. And so here it is, looking at what more can we do to inspire men to get out and exercise. So I started Googling, and that's when I found Black Men Run. And so I ended up reaching out to Ed and Jason. I sent them an email, and they ended up setting up a call, and we talked, man, and it was a great conversation. And they said, man, we're gonna bless you to start a chapter up there in Madison. And that's literally how everything started. I will admit that my organization, nobody knew about it. Even though I was out here, I was doing a lot of health events, but there was no traction. There was no organizations coming and sponsoring me. But it wasn't until I got the chapter, Black Men Run in Madison, that's when the health system started saying, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? Black men running, you know? So we started posting the pictures, and literally, man, from that point on, I never looked back. Black Men Run literally gave my organization the shot in the arm that it needed. We never looked back since. So a lot of our success, I've always stated it, it's absolutely due to bringing a Black Men Run chapter to Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow. So you guys were pretty well received up there in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we are now.
Yeah, definitely. That's good to say. I know there's a chapter also in Milwaukee.
Yes, we had the guys come up. There's it's called the Mad City relays, 50-mile run. And so a lot of the guys come up from Milwaukee to do that as a relay team. And so we always connect with them. And it's always nice to, do the Brotherhood and connecting with the brothers, that are 70 miles east of us. Yeah, so.
Okay. Yeah. How far are you all from Detroit?
I think from Detroit, probably about a good 4.5, 5-hour drive.
Okay.
At the minimum, at least. Because me and Castleberry did that drive going there. We did that the mini what's that called? The mini race they had.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so that was the Madison Mini Marathon. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a good time, man. And it was cool to have you guys all that came in. And man, I tell you, all of the shoe companies came over and they said, Aaron, you have completely diversified the city of Madison's running community. Because I think we had about 37 guys there. We had the lieutenant governor that came out and ran with us, so it was a good look. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I got to get up there and come hang with you guys, man. I have cousins in Milwaukee that I have not met yet on my dad's side. So
okay.
to get up there and meet some of them. I might as well hit Madison and run with you.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah,
one
just
of
let
the
me know,
folks.
you know, don't you got your tour guide. He
Yeah,
built right in.
definitely,
Yeah.
man.
What
Definitely.
day do you guys run on during the week?
So we only run on Saturday mornings, and then we noticed that a lot of other guys are running, you know, during the week. But we have our big group run on Saturday mornings. We run at this place called the Arboretum, beautiful kind of backdrop. You run around the lake. It's 6.2 miles around the lake. But
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah, it is. Yeah. On the University of Wisconsin campus, but just a beautiful place. But yeah, we've, you know, and we're a brand name here now, you know, Black Men Run. Everybody knows about Black Men Run. Whenever an organization, like on Saturday, they got the Shamrock Shuffle. Well, who did they put on the flyer of Shamrock Shuffle? Well, they got our Black Men Run group on their flyer. And
Wow.
I said, that's all good, but y'all need to share some of them, some of them proceeds with us.
Right. It is a brand.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah, you know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. What Ed and Jason created and what the other brothers are doing with this, man, it's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. I probably am on the website at least maybe once or twice a month, you know, just again, just in awe, you know, and I love when I do get a chance to join some of the captain calls. And man, it's just a beautiful thing to see all the black faces popping up from all over the country. It's amazing. It's amazing what they've created.
It's a true network of social influence and impact. You know, we like to say that, but that really is true. You know, that's what we are. We were talking with Demetrius Short a
Yes.
couple of weeks ago, and you know, the Brown Boys Read program, which he attributes to you.
Yeah, you know, we ended up getting a grant from the University of Wisconsin. We call it the Black Men's Wellness Sustainable Initiative. And I wrote that grant, you know, really with the goal of really inspiring the diabetic community. Come out, let's take diabetes more serious. And so we ended up writing the grant, and lo and behold, they funded us. You know, but it was more of a relationship with my organization, Public Health Madison, and the University of Wisconsin School of Public Health. And so we ended up having, you know, this money now, and we got to spend it, you know, and you write in the grant what you want to do with it. But I had a whole nother idea. And so I got together with a couple of my board members, and one of my board members, like, you know, man, you know, the kids are just reading. They're just the proficiency of their reading. It's below standards. And so I started reaching out to the various schools, talking to school social workers, school psychologists, some of the principals, and they said, "Yeah, Aaron." They said, "Man, when these babies leave for the summer, they come back and it's like they've lost 2 years of learning." And so I started digging a little deeper and found that the reading levels were just horrendous. And then you dig deeper with the research and you realize that they build prisons based on the third grade reading level, you know. And so I'm like, oh, we can't let that happen to these babies. And so that's when we decided to create this Black Men Run, Brown Boys Read. And, you know, instantly it was a hit. You know, the community came out to support it. And I just remember Demetrius, he would put some stuff on Facebook. We had a little video. And from there, Demetrius like, man, I got to have that. And I just love what he has done with this. He's taken it 100 times beyond the vision that we had for it. And I love what he's doing with it.
That's amazing to see. We were up there last year for these steps to success.
Yes.
Which benefits the Brown Boys Read program. It's amazing, and the kids really are into the running aspect, but apparently they're really into the reading as well.
Yes.
You know, when you get them excited about reading, the sky's the limit.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that I realized in doing this, when we had those young men that came out, this was now been about 4 or 5 years ago now. So, of course, they're 5 years older, and, most of them were middle school. Now I was just looking at one of the police reports and I saw a name on the police report and I was like, man, I got to dig a little deeper. I think that's one of the kids that used to run with us. And sure enough, man, he out here buck wild, he out here, stealing cars and stuff. And so I put some fillers out. So I'm trying to connect with him to kind of bring him back in the mix and say, hey, how can I help you get your life back on track? Because, when he was running with us, he was one of our main kids that always showed up, and the way we did it, we met for 45 minutes, we read, then we ran for 30 minutes, and then we took them out and fed them all and then took them home. But man, the kids came regularly. We had buy-ins from the parents. But it just broke my heart when I saw that this kid's name was in this police report. And so, like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to him. He's older now. And, here in Wisconsin, they're not cutting you slack. And so
Right.
I just want to pull him in and maybe do some mentoring, see if we can get his life back on track.
Because you know what's missing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Us. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. They go back to the same environment or
Mhm.
worse. They need a constant presence,
Right. Mhm.
and if they don't have it, they're constantly looking for it, but they're looking for the wrong, they're looking for the right thing, but in the wrong
Right.
places, and
Yeah.
in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we mentor, we just gotta make sure that we, keep an eye and ear on what they're doing. And, I took my eyes off of this kid and he's stuck on stupid right now, but we gotta help him figure it out.
Gotta
So
help 'em.
get him
Right.
back in the mix. So but I was looking at TV today and I saw what the obviously the Justice Department, what they ruled about policing in Louisville. And I saw that, and I want to make sure that I know that we'll probably have some of our brothers from the BMR Louisville, but just for them to know, man, that we support them, because it's awful, what the community had to experience, with with law enforcement. And we know that there's good officers out here, but
Of course.
for them bad ones, man, they got to get them out of there because they just give the whole department a bad name. So I just want to make sure we send some love to our BMR brothers down in Louisville.
That's Philip Cherry and his local brotherhood there.
Yes.
Philip's a good brother, good dude. But yeah,
Yeah.
that Brown Boys reprogramming, mentoring on any kind of level, key. I've done
Wow.
Big Brother program. I've done Everybody Wins
Okay.
program, and it's just amazing to see how kids who really need that mentor that does not have a positive male presence, how they
Right.
respond. And you may not always see it,
Right.
but it plants seeds even later on, even like the young man you mentioned, who's, kind of stuck on the knucklehead side
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
Who knows what this young brother will become with the
Right.
right guidance and influence.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we're gonna definitely find them. We're gonna extend that hand, man. And I tell you, I hope that he takes it, and we're gonna extend the hand and we're gonna lift him up. But I just hope he takes the hand because sometimes, man, they just don't want to take it. So
Yeah.
hope that he understands that, no judgment, whatever life, however life move you to wherever you're at. We just want to help him get back to center,
Yeah.
because right now he's off. So
Yeah, we got to
What
get him on track.
mhm.
I'm gonna keep them in my prayers, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
No
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, but overall, man, the question for me is like, where do I want this this to go? I'm going to be retiring from my job this year. I'm shooting for December, but I think it's going to be maybe more this summer. and because I want to do my organization full time. And, I've been, sitting and thinking, where do I want to take this, and so, we opened up, 5 men's health clinics or centers and 5 Black barbershops here in Madison. And then we just opened another one up in one of the churches here, End Time Ministry. So we have a total of 6 health centers and the spread throughout the city. But what happened is that we partnered with the Edgewood College School of Nursing, as well as the UW, University of Wisconsin School of Pharmacy. And so the students come in and they do a lot of our preventative screenings, health education, A1C testing, diabetes assessments. But what we were doing is we started hearing the students were like, Mr. Perry, this person's, A1C or cholesterol or blood pressure, especially the blood pressure, it's stroke level. And we just can't let them walk out of here, when we have that dangerously high, blood pressure. And I said, we have a little small pot of money that we say, hey, why don't you go on over to the urgent care and get that checked out? And we have a $25 stipend because that was what the copay was. But the guys started coming back and they said, man, y'all don't quite understand. I appreciate you doing the blood pressure. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. But you want me to voluntarily go and get a $500 bill that I cannot pay? Man, I gotta take my chances, man. I'm trying to buy a house for my family. I can't invest in something that's gonna ruin my credit. And so I'm hearing this and I had to respect the honesty. But my thing is, brother, you have a stroke level blood pressure. You don't get this under control, you can kiss that house that you want to buy goodbye, And so we didn't want to shame anyone, but my thing is, I got with my board and I said, man, we got to refigure this out because these guys have gotten to a point where they're honest with us, and that's what we hope, that guys feel comfortable and trusting us. And so I got with my board and they say, Aaron, maybe it's time to open up our free clinic. And man, I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be, we don't have it in the budget, And so I started, man, praying, and all of a sudden, this foundation, they've given us $50,000 a year prior. But man, they circled back and they said, Aaron, we're really pleased at how things have gone with our first, investment, the funding that we gave you. We'd like to help you out again, but you have to tell us what you need. The timing of that told me that God wanted this to succeed. And so we sat down with the foundation. She brought her mom. I got to meet her mom, and man, they gave us $150,000. They actually asked me, what do you need? And I said, well, we need about 75,000. And if we can get that over 2 years. And man, they gave us 150,000. She said, Aaron, we're not going to mess around going to giving you this 75 every year. We're just going to give you the whole 150 up front. With that investment, we were able to find our location that was a empty office space that used to be a hearing clinic, literally right next to the next door to the barbershop where we had our men's health center. And I ended up talking with the owner, man, and we rented the space. And, within 4 months, we had the Perry family free clinic open. We went out and we recruited physicians. And so there was a young lady, her name is Dr. Farah Kaiskow. I did a presentation with the UW medical school faculty. And after my presentation, people was like, hey, Aaron, what do you need? And I said, well, we can't open the doors unless we have a medical director. And man, Farah stood up. She said, I'll be your medical director. That'd be a dream of mine to do that. And man, that lady stepped up and been our medical director ever since. And now we got the medical director, which means the doors are going to open. And so, we did the work. We ended up reaching out to a couple of the health systems. SSM Health has been a big sponsor of us. They were building a new clinic. And man, I got over there with them. I talked with the president, I talked with the VP, and I was like, man, we know that those cabinets, and all that that's going to end up in a landfill somewhere. Can we just, can you just donate it to us? And they said, yeah, come over and pick out everything you need. And so we went over, man, with my maintenance guy, and we picked out cabinetry. We got 8 medical beds, and man, we got everything that we needed. And you know what? A blessing. The community stepped up and literally helped us open this free clinic. And so when we opened the doors, we initially said, who do we want to focus on? And so we said, let's focus on the uninsured and underinsured Black men, because those are the men that are utilizing the ER for the healthcare, and that's taxing all of us when that happens. And so we put it out there, man, and community, and start meeting with churches. And next thing we know, our clinic is open. We opened on February of 2022. We literally just surpassed our 1-year anniversary about 3 weeks ago. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you, man.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's been well received. 60 patients have come through the doors. And a lot of these brothers were showing up, man. They were living their life, they were functioning, but in terms of, and this is the medical director's language, a lot of those guys were critical. And so, man, they came in and we started offering this culturally specific healthcare. The one thing that we do different, nobody comes in and get a 15-minute appointment. They get as much time as they need, up to about 45 minutes. And it was a beautiful sight, man, seeing patients coming out of the examination room. We have 3 exam rooms, but seeing patients coming out of the exam room, man, bumping fists with the doctor, and it's like, when I saw that the first time, I said, it's coming together, and man, are we saving lives? Absolutely, we are, and so it is my hope that, for other BMR chapters, if brothers are interested in doing this, don't go and recreate the wheel. I have the blueprint, more than happy to just give it to them, so that we can do this, because you guys by now may have seen the free clinic directory that I worked on. Man, it took me almost a year, about 8 months to put that together. I had a little small team working with me, but it was important for me to create that, free clinic directory. And we focused on all of the BMR chapters. So that directory has all of the free clinics in every Black Men Run chapter that we have. And so if guys are out in the community and they're doing any running, hosting any events, and they come across someone that doesn't have insurance, now they can plug them right into that free clinic so that these guys can get the care that they need.
That's awesome.
And that's life changing right there.
So we may need to put something in motion to designate maybe like a specific month, day or week to promote all of this amongst the Brotherhood.
Okay.
Annually, and within our communities, so people know. That's a pretty powerful stuff, because these people look like you and me.
Right. Yeah.
We want our brothers healthy. That's why this is the Healthy Brotherhood experience. Is more than just running. It's physical, it's mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, on the 25th of March, we're actually doing our, our kickoff event. So that'll be the season kickoff. Well, now I know you brothers down in Atlanta, y'all been running year round, but we had to take a little break because of the winter. But we're having our kickoff event, and so we're combining our Black Men Run, our Black Men Hike and our Black Men Cycle Madison group. And so on the 25th of this month, we're going to have our big kickoff, and we invited the governor to come and kind of give us a send off. So, but we do this, man, because we know that I can't speak for what the health disparities look like in some of the other places, but here in Madison, Wisconsin, the average age of death when we started doing this work, the average age of death for Black men was 51 years of age. And today, after doing the work, and I'm going to say that we've had a hand in changing this, but today is 52.45. Now, I'm sorry, but we got a top 10 university in our backyard. We have $4 billion hospitals in our backyard. You mean that we can't figure out how to keep Black men alive longer than 52 years of age? It's priorities. It's getting out in the community and getting to know us. But that's unacceptable. And this is why I do the work that I do, because we can't keep kicking that can down the road and expecting some miracle to happen. We see it, and I'm sure you guys see it on Facebook. Man, people are posting on Facebook, man, I need your prayers. I lost somebody. And, I saw a post the other day, and I was scratching my head because as I'm reading it, yes, someone passed away, but they were talking like he went to Chicago for the weekend. And I'm like, no, he's gone. He died. He's gone. But the point is that we've gotten so comfortable with death that we present it like, oh, they just went to Chicago for the weekend. And it's like, no, he's gone. He ain't coming back. And that's the one thing, man, that we all have to have a hand in changing that perception and not being as comfortable as we are with it, just accepting death, as often. And we know things are going to happen, but it is my hope that all of the BMR chapters come together and realize that we have something that could really alter the course of these men who are struggling, alter the course of their life.
And I
Amen.
believe it's currently doing that.
Yes.
We're definitely doing that. A lot of brothers have branched off into cycling, or doing the duathlons or triathlons like you two have already done. I have yet to do that. I'm not the best swimmer in the world. And I stick to swimming pools anyway. So,
Right.
but I think it is currently, there's a shift taking place.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more active we are, and I think the more that we grow, you're going to see, a shift, because there's a trickle down effect.
Right.
It reaches out in so many other areas. You don't have to be an elite runner. If you get somebody walking,
Yes.
where they weren't doing anything before, if you get somebody cycling,
Yeah.
if you get somebody going to the gym, or even just doing a little workout in their home, you've got the ball moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy that leads our, so we do running and walking, but the guy that leads our walking, he's 72 years old.
Wow, look at that.
Every Saturday he leads our walks. And then we have the guy Dino Lucas. He's done every Ironman in the world, and
Wow.
but he started having hip and knee problems, and so he's now retired. But he came out of retirement, so he leads our cycling. So we do anywhere from 15, no more than 30 miles per, when we go out and ride. And then we have another brother who is James Mill. His organization is the Joy Trip Project, but he does a lot of kind of the outdoorsmen, activities. So he leads a lot of our hikes. So we got a nice team together that really get our guys out and keep them active.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Aaron Perry, man. You are such a blessing to the brotherhood. We like all of you out there in our listening audience to go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you can go a little further.
Yes.
And you have just experienced the brotherhood.
I love it. I
Yes,
love it. Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you guys extending this invitation. It's just about lifting our brothers up, man. And, you know, sometimes we just want to tell the health systems, if you're not going to be on board, just get out of our way, but
Yeah.
give us a little money, you know.
Yeah, it's only fair. It's
Right.
only
There we
fair.
go.
They could
Mhm.
give us a little bit.
And
Yeah.
I think we'll be talking to you again at some point, Aaron. I'm pretty sure this won't be the last time you will be a guest on the Healthy Brotherhood Experience. Next time you'll just be you're gonna be one of us.
I love it. Yeah, I did again. Count me in, man. This. I enjoy doing this, but at the end of the day, man, it is just important that we know that we have guys that they just like they're in a hole that they just can't climb out of.
Mhm.
And the last thing we need is brothers just giving up on their health,
That's right.
because when you don't have health, we know that there's challenges and struggles with Black men, period. But when you have all these challenges and you throw on top of that poor health, it's just,
You
we can
won't
do
be here
better.
very long.
Yeah, yeah,
Won't
yeah,
be here very long. And
yeah.
we need every brother.
That's right.
We need
That's
every
right.
brother. We need
Mhm.
every brother. All right. I'll
Man.
stop the recording here.